Hello, everyone. It's me again, the real Laura B, here on YouTube and Twitter. And yes, we are here because Amber Heard has finally filed her answer in the lawsuit that New York Marine Insurance has filed against her. So there's two insurance lawsuits going on. This is the one that's specifically against Amber Heard. And it looks like this one she's got to pay for out of her own pocket. But she's finally filed her answer. Which I was expecting something else because last we heard at the scheduling conference where they had given updates of their status report, she was claiming that she was stateless and they did not have jurisdiction over her. She also suggested she was going to file a dismissal for any other reason. And she also suggested she was going to file to stay the case until after the appeal. But no, we have an answer. And let's see what she has to say in that. And let me do my quick intro for our replay crew. Hang in there.
Hi, I'm Laura, also known as the real Laura B from Twitter, and now here on YouTube. I'm a researcher, new wave internet media, and commentator. I'm not a lawyer nor offering any legal advice. Join me on a journey to review the world of celebrity lawsuits and current events. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, how are you today? Yeah, I know this is a quickie, but the baby's sleeping. He's 2.5. He's not really a baby yet, but I take advantage of that because I know tomorrow we also have supposed to be getting her brief for the appeal. So I wanted to get this up there for you guys. And this is my first read. I mean, I glanced at it. It came in late last night for me and I had a glance on it. But where are we now? Well, she's filed a status report. They all filed a status report and she was trying to claim that you don't have jurisdiction over me because I no longer live in California. I'm no longer part of the United States. I don't live here anymore, so this isn't going to work for you guys. I guess she's changed her tune on that one now. So here's what we have right now. Just another quick update was she filed her answer, but she also filed a notice of interested parties filed by Amber Heard and Counterclaim it because she's now countersuing New York Marine, identifying New York Marine and General Insurance Company, Amber Heard, Travelers Commercial Insurance Company. So she's put in interested parties that to this specific lawsuit. Now, let me remind you, we have two sets of lawsuits. We actually have now kind of four, but the first one was Travelers sued New York Marine like July 2021 because they were claiming that they didn't pay their fair share, that their insurance also covered defense of defamation, and you have to pay your fair share. New York Marine said, hey, when we reviewed this claim, Amber Heard was being represented by Cameron McAvoy. We accepted her claim, but we have the right to appoint her lawyer. Well, we liked the lawyer she was already using. So we said, okay, we'll go ahead with Cameron McAvoy. You've already picked them. We'll pick them, but they're going to be the lead lawyer because I guess they accepted the claim first. She also filed the claim to Travelers Insurance. Travelers Insurance apparently has a very different way of handling their claim. They allow, because they follow strictly California law, they allow the insured, Amber Heard, to pick her own lawyer. And at that time, she picked Robbie Kaplan. New York Marine says, wait a minute, we got a lot of cooks in this kitchen. Why are you getting another lawyer? We already have one going that she actually hired. And she says, no, this is the one that Amber wants, and we're going to go and allow Amber to pick her own lawyer. And he goes, well, that's not the rule in our insurance. And the rule in our insurance is we pick our own lawyer. And I think that's pretty common because if they're laying out all this money for the defense, they want to make sure that they have a say in who they're paying. But they have to avoid conflict of interest. Amber Heard is still the client, first and foremost. She has the privilege. And that was part of the argument. So Travelers Insurance sued New York Marine to say, hey, you got to pay up. You got to help us cover Kaplan. And they're like, so they filed for a dismissal. They won a dismissal on every point except for one. And that was that their own attorney, Cameron McAvoy, got elbowed out and quit. And after they quit, Travelers then contested and said, hey, now we only have the one lawyer. You have to pay our lawyer. You know, you can't just let your lawyer off the hook and you pay nobody. Now you have to take 50% and pay half of our lawyer. And he said, okay. They said, okay, well, since our lawyer left, we'll pay 50%. Well, then they found out that they were being billed astronomical fees far beyond what was reasonable and customary for the area. Then they found out that Cameron McAvoy didn't just leave because they were being crowded out. They left because they were intentionally being left out of meetings, had no voice in the case. And if Amber Heard ever turned around and decided to sue her lawyers, they didn't want to be the ones being sued because they had no say in the case. So New York Marine says, hey, if you made it impossible for our lawyer to work and you made him leave, then we don't owe anybody defense. And that's what they now sued Amber Heard over. So they have that lawsuit. Well, New York Marine got really ticked off with this whole business when they found out about Cameron McAvoy, that they countersued Travelers Insurance. So that's that lawsuit. After the verdict came in, New York Marine sued Amber Heard, saying, hey, wait up, hold a minute. Number one, you've been found guilty of intentional tort, not guilty, liable for intentional tort, and we don't have to cover intentional torts. So if you can imagine, you've got an old car and you want to you crash it so that the insurance pays out so you can buy a new car, but you intentionally crashed it. The insurance is like, yeah, we don't cover things you do on purpose. The jury found that Amber Heard had lied with malice, with actual malice, that she had knowledge that she intentionally lied. And they said, yeah, we don't have to cover that. We don't have to cover intentional torts. Number one. Number two, you refused to work with our attorney. We offered you a defense. You refused to accept our defense. So we're not liable to give anybody a defense in this. So we don't have to pay for anybody. So that's where that. Amber came back and said, hey, wait a minute. No, I got an appeal going on. You still have to pay for me. So the way this is reading from everything I've seen so far, it looks like Travelers is still paying for her appeal defense. So Amber's not paying anything out of pocket per se. And that's not legal per se. But we'll get to that in the argument. So have I brought you up to date so far? Oh, and now Amber's filed her answer and she's countersuing New York Marine. So we have Travelers suing New York Marine countersued Travelers, New York Marine sued Amber Heard countersued Travelers. Well, not long ago, this was a while ago, this ended up being assigned to the same judge. They said, look, there's a lot of going on back and forth, so let's give this to the same judge at least. So they did that. So then Travelers came back recently and said, you know what? We have a lot of the same witnesses that don't want to be deposed twice. We think this should be completely consolidated into one lawsuit. And a jury they're smart enough, they'll be able to figure it out. So after hearing arguments, the judge, in its final order, allowed the 4 cases to be consolidated, but only for pretrial purposes. So there are going to be times where we're going to see something different on the dockets from both sides. But now that they're saying in this lawsuit, New York Marine versus Amber Heard, she's filed saying, hey, we have another interested party, and that is most likely going to be Travelers. So this is what they filed down here. It's a form. It says the undersigned counsel of record or party appearing per se certifies that the following listed party or parties may have a pecuniary interest in the outcome of this case. So it's got to be Travelers Insurance. I can't think who else it might be. So, but we don't have the form yet. We just know that it's been filed, and this is what the form looks like. So, and based on the description here, she's basically saying that the interested parties would be Travelers Commercial Insurance Company. So even though these cases have been put together for pretrial purposes, she's also telling the judge the outcome of my case, these people are interested in. So that's where I am before I get to the answer that I'm going to bring up now. But let me just touch base with you guys because I wanted to give you an intro. So I hope I've brought you up to date. Let me know if I've confused you even more. Hey, Tug Simp, how are you? Belinda's just getting herself further down the hole. What address does she use? I don't think she uses an address. I think it's all with her. It's all with her attorney. You know, yeah, that's the only address we're going to see. But she does admit to some stuff. I did see that. This is the New York Marine insurance. And just a reminder, Travelers Insurance. They insured her home that she owned at the time. New York Marine insured her business. I don't know that they still do. I don't know if I doubt they renewed, but they insured her business of where she's the owner employee. So she was beneficiary of the services of that insurance. Does that make sense? So that's where that is. Do we know where she is currently? Have no idea. She's saying she's not living in the Americas. Apparently, yes. I mean, apparently Travelers has not raised the issue that they won't cover the judgment on a willful tort. So it's going to be interesting to see that. I have a lot of videos I've done about this, more deep dives if you want to get caught up to find out how exactly their insurances read and how their claimant letters read. Let's see. I do have a PayPal, and I appreciate your support. Oh, well, I hope this takes your mind off of whatever pain you're feeling. Forsey Princess, thank you so very much. I'm glad I checked Twitter to see if you were going live. As always, thank you. I'm going live because if I pre-recorded it, it can take hours before I can get YouTube to upload it. So I just figured I'd do this while the baby's sleeping, and who knows what will come out. Will this lead to financial discovery that will hurt Amber? Well, there's going to be a lot of discovery that we won't be privy to because it's going to be privileged. We'll be getting into that, but they're going to be taking depositions we know already of Robbie Kaplan, Cameron McAvoy, people from that office, lawyers from that, Elaine Braderhoff, and her personal attorney. She has a personal attorney that had nothing to do with the debt fee trial. So they're going to be giving depositions, and that'll all be privileged because it's lawyers. So I don't know how much we'll see. They're going to put a protective order in that's going to keep us from seeing some stuff that's going to be filed for sure. And that's pretty normal. And the same thing happened in the debt trial. Let me catch up on a couple more comments before I start reading, because I do have to get this in before the baby wakes up. Who's paying for her new lawyer? Well, I can only assume she is. I mean, it's not going to be Travelers Insurance. So, yeah, it is confused, isn't it? So this lawsuit we're talking about today is New York Marine sued Amber Heard. This is her answer. She's going to countersue them. But she's saying that Travelers Insurance has is an interested party, and they already know they've consolidated the two cases pre-trial. Good. Thank you. Carolyn Bingham. Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate this. This is such a huge help. You have no idea. Thank you so very much. Very generous. Christina Rakovan. I had to pick that name up just because I thought it sounded familiar to me. All right. Last time I heard, she was in London. Yeah, we saw a few pictures of her there. I don't know what she has stashed. She sold the house, just proceeds from the house. She didn't donate the $7 million. She's made movies, right? She's been working. I don't know I have no idea what Elon is doing. I mean, I do know Daily Mail came out and said that he was the sperm ovary. I mean, they didn't speculate it. They just said it like it was confirmed. I don't know that that's happened. If it's true, maybe they have some kind of child support thing going. I don't know. But she has, she had $7 million. She did a lot of traveling on her own, but she's made movies. She made Aquaman 2, and she made some other things, and she's done L'Oreal, been paid out of that. So she's had income coming in. I guess it will come up that Elaine misled the jury over who had paid the lawyers. No, I don't think it was misled. I think this is one of those loopholes where she paid for the insurance policy, and the insurance policy, the benefit, she owns. So I think as much as Depp tried to get that to the jury, it was denied, and I think it's one of those things. So Depp team knew. Depp team knew about the insurance. Oh, I missed that one. I missed the comment. Hi from Greece. That's awesome. She did that TV show. Yeah, she's been working. I mean, she worked up until the very beginning of the trial, because she shot a film just recently, and I want to say it was Ecuador or something, and I think it's in, I'm not even sure if it's in Spanish. Yeah, she's been paid for her speaking, so she's got cash. She's just trying not to spend it on legal stuff. So let's get to this, and then we'll get to her answer, and then we'll come back to more questions, guys, okay? So let's get to the meat of it, and I will zoom it in for you. So this is her answer. Sometimes this is going to be confusing because they're going to say to paragraph number 1, denied, agreed, or whatever, and it's not going to mean a lot to us. I could sit here and go back and forth with those. Let's see if I can get up his first amended. Let's see if I can do that in case I have any questions. First amended. Here it is, main doc. Okay. All right. If I have to go back and forth, I will. If it gets confusing, because it goes paragraph number to paragraph number. She's just spending everybody's else's money. No, I don't know that. Right now, it could be I don't know. I mean, lawyers don't do this kind of stuff pro bono. You know, if you're in a car accident where they're expecting a big insurance pay, some kind of damages payout, they might say, okay, I'll take your car insurance case on, what do they call it? Not consignment, where they'll get like 40 or 50% of the payout. But I don't think they usually do it on these kinds of lawsuits. These are usually you have to pay up on them. So here it is. Defendant Amber Heard's answer to New York Marine and General's Insurance Company's first amended complaint and counterclaim. So she's countersuing, and a jury trial is demanded. I don't think there's been any dates set yet that we've seen. I've seen some scheduling. It went all the way up to pretrial conference. I did not see a trial date. Defendant Amber Heard hereby answers the first amended complaint of plaintiff New York Marine and General Insurance Company as follows. And here's the big one. Answer, paragraph 1. Ms. Heard admits the allegations in this paragraph. United States Court. And here it is. Let me zoom it in on you. The United States District Court for the Central District of California has original jurisdiction over this case. She's done it. There's not going to be any more stateless claims. She's admitting it. So it's done. And Ms. Heard admits that New York Marine purports to seek a judicial determinations as alleged in this paragraph. They're looking for a declaratory judgment. They want the judge to say, look, just tell us who's right and wrong here. Let's see what else. Answer 3. Ms. Heard admits that New York Marine asserts that its claims are authorized by that code, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Heard states that this paragraph contains only legal conclusions to which no response is required. Answering paragraph 4, Amber Heard does not dispute the venue may be proper in the Central District of California and that she has resided in California, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Heard denies the allegations in this paragraph. Now, we saw a note that they had come to some kind of agreement, and her stands were going crazy, going, oh, it's settled, it's dismissed. No, they came to agreement, and Andrea Burkhart said this too, that they're going to drop she was going to drop the statelessness. It was a useless argument. She couldn't prove she had domiciled anywhere else. I mean, I don't know what she's been doing, but let's just say you rent an Airbnb in Spain and you can only be there 90 days before you pay taxes. That's not domiciled. So for all intents and purposes, apparently she agreed that this was an argument she couldn't win. So now we move back to here. Paragraph 5, Ms. Heard admits that New York Marine's policy number was delivered in this district with a mailing address in this district, and that the named insured listed in the policy under the black sky as per named insured extension schedule. So this is what I was telling you before. Ms. Heard is the one who is named to benefit from this policy. That's her production company or her loan out company, they call it too, where when a company hires her to be an actor, they're actually hiring under the black sky, and black sky hires her. Same thing. A lot of the subways do it. Johnny has it too. Anyway, so and the policy was delivered to her in this district's mailing address. So she's given up the whole jurisdiction issue. The parties. Ms. Heard lacks sufficient information to admit or deny the allegations of this paragraph, and therefore denies them. And that's paragraph 6. Oh, she doesn't know where they're a corporation from, so I'm not going to admit or deny. She's saying she denies it. Answering, Ms. Heard admits that she is a natural person and was domiciled in California at the time of filing, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Heard denies the allegations in this paragraph. Here at all times mentioned was an individual who is a citizen and resident of California. She's not saying she's a resident. She's saying she lived there at the time of the filing. So that's over and done with. And we get into the meat of it. Answering paragraph 8, Ms. Heard admits that New York Marine issued the policy. The named insured is under the black sky, and as per named insured extension schedule, which schedule includes Ms. Heard as a named insured. The policy has a policy period of July 18, 2018 to July 18, 2019, and the policy lists an each occurrence limit of $1 million. That would be toward the judgment, not toward her legal defense. That's toward the judgment. And personal and advertising limit of $1 million, any one person or organization, and a personal liability limit of $1 million for each occurrence. Ms. Heard further admits that Exhibit A to the first amended complaint appears to be a true and correct copy of at least a substantial part, if not all, of the policy, with certain information redacted. Except as expressly admitted, Ms. Heard denies the allegations in this paragraph. So there is an insurance policy, and it's supposed to pay $1 million toward a judgment. Answering paragraph 9, Ms. Hurd admits that the policy contains a coverage part entitled Comprehensive Personal Liability Coverage and that this coverage part includes the quoted language, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations in this paragraph. Answering paragraph 10, Ms. Hurd admits that the definition of personal injury in the policy's comprehensive personal liability coverage contains the quoted language, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations in the paragraph. So I think all this is doing is just describing, this is the policy defines personal injury to mean, and they explain it, oral or written publication. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. So the underlying lawsuit, let's get to that. Number 11, Ms. Hurd admits the allegations in this paragraph. So these are just usually set this out. Yes, she was sued. She knows that. Ms. Hurd admits the allegations in this paragraph. This is talking about her op-ed. And she admits the allegations in this paragraph, which is when she applied for the insurance coverage. September 4th, 2019 is when she applied. And October 1st is when New York Marine accepted it. Ms. Hurd admits that by letter dated October 1st, New York Marine purported to accept her defense of Depp v. Hurd and reserved certain rights, and that this letter contains the quoted language, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations in this paragraph. Ms. Hurd admits the allegations in this paragraph, which is 15. At the time Hurd tendered her underlying action, the law firm Cameron McAvoy was defending Hurd in the underlying action. When New York Marine accepted Hurd's defense, New York agreed to continue the defense of Hurd through the law firm Cameron McAvoy. Answering paragraph admits that on or about November 2nd, 2020, Cameron McAvoy withdrew as one of the counsel representing Ms. Hurd in the Depp lawsuit, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations in this paragraph. New York Marine informs and believe, and on such information belief alleges that Hurd and her agents instructed other firms defending Hurd in the underlying action to not include Cameron McAvoy in Hurd's ongoing defense. As a result, on or around November 2nd, Cameron McAvoy withdrew from the defense of Hurd in the underlying action. So she's denying that she had prevented them from doing their job. She just says, yep, they left me for no good reason. She admits the allegations in these paragraphs. She admits that the jury instructions are the best evidence of their contents and that the jury instruction included the quoted language, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations in this paragraph. So we're kind of up to 19. They submitted the jury instructions, and the jury instructions also instructed the jury with respect to liability issues for debt. So this is the debt part of it. The finding instructions. You should only return a verdict if, remember, we went through all these and it had to be with actual malice. That Ms. Hurd made the statement with actual malice. Mr. Depp failed to prove on any one of those 7 elements. It would be not denied, but she was found liable. So that was a quick overview. Ms. Hurd admits that the jury instructions are the best evidence. Ms. Hurd admits that the finding instruction on Depp lawsuit is the best evidence. So we just went through those. Ms. Hurd admits that the court in the Depp lawsuit issued additional finding instructions and that these finding instructions are the best evidence of their contents, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations in this paragraph, 22. The court in the underlying action issued a nearly identical finding instruction for each of the other 2 statements identified in paragraph 20 above, which only changed the content of the first element to replace the statement at issue. I don't know what she's denying there. It's pretty straightforward. Ms. Hurd denies the allegations. Answering paragraph 3, she admits the allegations in this paragraph. On June 1st, the jury in the underlying action returned a verdict in favor of Depp for counts of defamation based on all 3 statements. The verdict was incorporated into the judgment order, which was entered by the court in the underlying action on June 24th. True and correct copy is attached. So, anywho, I'm going to try and catch up with questions when I get down to first cause of action. Ms. Hurd admits that the special verdict form in the Depp lawsuit is the best evidence of its contents, and the jury answered yes to the questions. And answering paragraph 25, Ms. Hurd admits that the special verdict form in the Depp lawsuit is the best evidence of its contents. And answering paragraph 26, she admits the allegations in this paragraph. So let's get up to 26. So yeah, they all had the same jury instructions, and she admits that the jury After answering all those questions, yes, the jury also answered yes to the question, do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Miss Heard acted with actual malice? And she is saying she denies the allegations in this paragraph. Well, I don't know what she's denying. The jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages from Heard. However, the punitive damages were reduced to statutory cap of $350,000. First cause of action, and where are we here, guys? Let me see if I can. Let me see. Astrid, thank you so very much. Thank you for what you do, Laura. I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you all I do. Just about here I left off. Remember this? Oh, one more question. If travelers are okay paying the judgment, why is she still fighting the New York Marine to pay? Because the judgment, the travelers is only insured for $500,000 toward a $10 million judgment. She needs all the money she can get her hands on. Yeah, all the money she can. So they pay for the defense, but travelers is suing New York Marine saying you need to share half the defense. But in the end, I don't know. As far as if the judgment stands, travelers only pays $500,000 toward it. New York Marine would only pay $1 million toward it. Did L'Oreal fire her? Well, I think there was some indications in the unsealed documents that they could no longer really work with her. I don't know if they call it firing. I think they said something like, we would really like to work with you, but in light of what's happening. Yeah, she pledged. She didn't donate. She pledged. Couldn't do this because of you suing me. And I saw we saw in the video, Camille's eyes are rolling between her statement and to the judge because they had ruled that they couldn't talk about the insurance. And they were like, oh, yeah, I saw they were there. In the closet with Amy Goodhart. Hey, Amy. Yeah, I wish I was. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're able to spend some time with them, Amy. Thanks for stopping in here. All in all, she paid only her premium, nothing of the $7 million. Well, she paid something up until, remember, Johnny sued her in April, and I guess she didn't file the claim until September. She certainly didn't have the money. She's a world traveler, that's for sure. L'Oreal still supports her, whether it's financially or just on the sidelines. I don't think L'Oreal signed that letter. So maybe L'Oreal's finally cut their losses? I really don't know. I don't know on that one. She stated she would donate the money. That's right. That goes towards her proclivity to lie to the public to make herself look better, to the means to an end. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Here's your, did I not show that before? I know I read it. Yeah, they didn't sign that letter. What about Pamela Johnson? Well, the last thing we read, they kept saying the special agent assigned has retired. She will be deposed. So we're assuming that this is the same special agent. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you know, we know with Jennifer Howell that there was supposed to be a lawsuit to get these embryos destroyed, but we don't know how that played out. In the end, it could be, yes, I'll let you have a baby and I'll agree to this, but I don't want to have to be named as father. I mean, who knows? Something, if there was a lawsuit, it came to some ending or settlement, and we don't know what they ended up agreeing to. She'll have to go back to America to sit in court. Well, these things usually settle out. We'll see. Who knows with this one? Yeah. Yeah. Well, she didn't have a choice. This was her due date. So she's stuck on dates. There's nothing. She tried to put this off as far as she could too. I don't know if she needs a U.S. address. I guess so. I mean, she just needs a bank to put them in. I lived overseas, and you know, we were paid. Sometimes we were paid by the parent company. Sometimes we were paid by the foreign company, but we still had to pay the federal taxes no matter what. And we didn't own a house in the States, so there's a lot of expats. And that's basically what she's claiming to be, some kind of an expat, because she's not denouncing her citizenship. Okay, guys, I got to jump back to this because we still have a lot to read. I'm trying. Yeah, this is important because not so much that she was married, but she is the person who wrote the op-ed. It's not like in the Sun. The reporters wrote it with the understanding that they had the knowledge they had at the time, and they thought that they could say that, and the judge agreed. She's the one who knows the truth. She's the one who was the writer. Johnny knows the truth. It's definitely he said, she said, and they found she lied. Okay. All right, let's get back to this. First cause of action. Miss Heard, and this is New York Marine's first cause of action. So she's incorporating all her paragraphs like she always does. Miss Heard admits that California Insurance Code Section 533 contains the quoted language and that the remainder of this paragraph contains only legal contentions and no response is required. And that's the one where they say California Insurance Code, insurer is not liable for a loss caused by the willful act of the insured, but he is not exonerated by the negligence of the insured or of the insured's agents or others. This provision is an implied exclusionary clause, which by statute is read into all insurance policies under California law. Now, this should have been in the traveler's insurance one, but for whatever reason, they don't seem to be pushing it. Paragraph, Amber Heard denies the allegations in this paragraph. The jury's factual findings establish that Heard's liability is caused by the willful acts of Heard. As a result, as a matter of California public policy and pursuant to California Insurance Code, the policy does not provide coverage for Heard's liability as reflected in the judgment ordered entered June 24th. So she's saying, she's going on record that she doesn't agree with this ruling. That's why she's appealing it, basically. That's my layman's termination. Answering paragraph 30, Ms. Heard admits that there is a dispute between New York Marine and her regarding New York Marine's duties under the policy. The implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing and the law that New York Marine contends that it has no duty to indemnify her as to the June 24, 2022 judgment order, and that she disputes New York Marine's contentions, contending that New York Marine is obligated to perform all its duties and that New York Marine must indemnify her at least to its policy limit for any judgment, settlement, or award against her in the DEP lawsuit. Ms. Heard also contends that because there has not yet been a final resolution of the DEP lawsuit, there is no present justiciable controversy and New York Marine's claims are not ripe. Except as expressly admitted, Ms. Heard denies the allegations in this paragraph. Now, I heard from Emily D. Baker. She's the first one I heard this from, and maybe been others. But so Amber Heard is saying, look, this isn't final. We're still appealing it. So New York Marine is suing me too soon. Well, New York Marine also has no intention of the appeal, paying for the appeal either. But here's the question. When she says that there has not yet been any final resolution of the DEP lawsuit, well, that's not true. There is a judgment. It has been recorded as of June 24th, 2022. Judge Ascarati made it very clear that the full amount in a suspension bond would be required. Amber Heard did not, to our knowledge, did not post a suspension bond, which means tomorrow Johnny could go knocking on the door to collect the money. So this is a viable and legal judgment that's out there now without a suspension bond. And New York Marine is saying, hey, basically, if Johnny comes knocking, we're not giving you the $1 million. Because it was an intentional tort. Amber Heard is trying to say, hey, I'm appealing this, so nobody's collecting money yet. Well, maybe there's some kind of agreement behind the scenes we don't know about, since Johnny also owes her $2 million. Maybe they've agreed, gentleman's handshake, not to go after each other's money until after the appeal. But it's not anything that's been entered into this court yet to rely on. Number 31, answering paragraph 31, Ms. Heard denies that there is an actual and present controversy regarding New York Marine's duty to indemnify. Why is this important? I should mention, you have to have some kind of controversy to ask for a judiciary declaration. So you have to have some kind of controversy. And she's basically saying, look, the appeal's not over yet, so you jump in the gun here. A judicial declaration. Ms. Heard denies that there is an actual and present controversy regarding New York Marine's duty to indemnify Ms. Heard for any judgment, settlement, or other award against her in the DEP lawsuit because there has not yet been any final resolution of the DEP lawsuit. Ms. Heard admits that New York Marine requests a judicial declaration as stated in this paragraph, and that New York Marine contends that it has no obligation to indemnify Ms. Heard for the judgment order, except as expressly admitted. Ms. Heard denies the allegations in this paragraph. So she wants a judicial declaration on this, saying, yeah, we're going to, basically no decision is going to be made yet because we're going to wait for the appeal. So they incorporate all those paragraphs above, and Ms. Heard admits that California Insurance Code 533 contains the quoted language and that the remainder of this paragraph. So this is going to be very similar. Declaratory relief as to plaintiff's duty to indemnify Heard for any judgment in the underlying action. And she's pretty much claiming the same things. Ms. Hurd admits that there is a dispute between New York Marine and her regarding New York Marine's duties under the policy, the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. This is pretty much copy and pasted. She's pretty much claiming the same things for each of the causes. We'll see as it goes. Ms. Hurd denies that there's any actual and present controversy, the same thing, and expressly admitted. So she's saying the same thing. Exactly. It's copy and paste. Third, cause of action. Declaratory relief as to the plaintiff's duty to defend Hurd in the underlying action, the policy. So now this is the continuing to defend her. I want to get this right. To defend Hurd in the underlying action, the policy, California Insurance Code. So this is going to go to when Cameron McAvoy left, that they don't feel like they have to pay. And we'll see if this also goes to the appeal. She denies the allegations in this paragraph. Let's see if this will help us. Because the jury's factual findings regarding Hurd's liability to debt required a finding of willful acts by Hurd to establish liability, California public policy and California Insurance Code preclude New York Marine from having any obligation to defend Hurd in the underlying action. So I guess, that included when Cameron McAvoy left. Ms. Hurd admits that there is an actual controversy between New York Marine and her regarding New York Marine's duties under the policy, the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and the law that New York Marine contends that it has no duty to defend her in the debt lawsuit based on California Insurance Code Section 533, and that she disputes New York Marine's contentions, contending that New York Marine is obligated to perform all its duties, and that New York Marine had and continues to have a duty to fully defend her in the debt lawsuit through its final resolution. So yes, now we have it. Amber Heard wants the appeal covered. She wants Cameron McAvoy paid for. When Cameron McAvoy left, she says, you still owe me a defense. And that happened to be Robbie Kaplan that changed into Elaine Braderhoff. And I guess they were allowed to hire Ben Rottenborn and to the final resolution. So she's including the appeal in this. Ms. Hurd admits that there is an actual and present controversy as described in her answer to paragraph 39 above, that New York Marine seeks judicial declaration as it states in the paragraph, and that New York Marine contends that it has no obligation to defend her on an ongoing basis for the debt lawsuit. So there's your controversy. She wants a declaratory judgment saying this, they have to cover me, they have to give me my defense. But she's saying as far as paying out, not being allowed to pay out the judgment, that's too early. They have to wait for the appeal to go on that. Fourth cause of action. Declaratory relief as to the plaintiff's duty to defend and indemnify Hurd in the underlying action under the policy. Then they have the conditions from the policy. Hurd admits that the policy's comprehensive personal liability coverage is the best evidence of its contents and that the coverage part includes the quoted language. Except as expressly admitted, Ms. Hurd denies the allegation in that paragraph, and that is in paragraph 42. So the conditions, duties after loss, Ms. Hurd must help New York Marine by seeing that enumerated duties are performed, including helping New York Marine with the conduct of suits and attending hearings and trials. I don't know what they're going to claim on this, except that we don't think New York Marine attended, but I think it's more like we supplied you with an attorney that you didn't allow to do the job. She denies the allegations in that paragraph. New York Marine is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that after New York Marine accepted Hurd's defense, Hurd, both individually and through her agents, refused to help New York Marine with the conduct of the suit and instructed other defense firms representing Hurd not to include defense counsel provided by New York Marine in the ongoing defense of Hurd. Okay, so not only are they upset about Cameron McAvoy, but her lawyers were supposed to keep New York Marine informed, and they were apparently only informing travelers as part of this claim. Paragraph 44, Ms. Hurd admits that there is an actual controversy between New York Marine and her regarding New York Marine's duties under the policy, the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and the law regarding New York Marine's duty to defend her in the debt lawsuit. That New York Marine contends that it has no duty to defend or indemnify her in the debt lawsuit because of Ms. Hurd's alleged failure to comply with the conditions of the policy, and that she disputes New York Marine's contentions, contending that New York Marine is obligated to perform all its duties, and that New York Marine had and continues to have a duty to fully defend her in the debt lawsuit through its final resolution, and a duty to indemnify her at least to its policy limit, which is the $1 million, for any judgment, settlement, or award against her in the debt lawsuit. Ms. Hurd also contends that because there has not yet been a final resolution of the debt lawsuit, there is no present justiciable controversy regarding New York Marine's a duty to indemnify her, and New York Marine's claims in the regard are not ripe, except as expressly admitted by Ms. Heard, denies the allegations in the paragraph. Paragraph 45, Ms. Heard admits that there is an actual and present controversy to the extent described in her answer to paragraph 44 above, that New York Marine seeks a judicial declaration as it states in this paragraph, and that New York Marine contends that there is no obligation to defend her on an ongoing basis in the DEP lawsuit or to indemnify her, and expressly admitted Ms. Heard denies this. So her prayer for relief, answering New York Marine's prayer for relief, not hers, theirs, Ms. Heard denies that New York Marine is entitled to the relief it requests or to any relief in this lawsuit, and asks the court to deny all the relief requested. So then we're going to get into affirmative defenses. And these are things that we saw in DEP's lawsuit. We saw they all have to do this. We've seen them in all of them. You have to put up what all your affirmative defenses are going to be, or you cannot rely on them later. So let's go through these quickly. Failure to state a cause of action. New York Marine is barred from maintaining its First Amendment amended complaint and each cause of action therein because they fail to state facts sufficient to constitute the claims. No subject matter jurisdiction. Where have we heard that? New York Marine's first cause of action is not ripe and not justiciable insofar as it's contingent on the entry of a final judgment in or other resolution of the DEP lawsuit. Well, this is interesting because they're going to have to, the judge is going to have to decide if the verdict is a final judgment in that somebody can collect on it. In other words, an appeal does not necessarily stay it. No substantial prejudice. New York Marine cannot maintain its fourth cause of action because it cannot establish that it was actually or substantially prejudiced by any unexcused alleged failure of Ms. Heard to satisfy any condition of the policy. They weren't prejudiced. They were denied the counsel they chose. Unclean hands. New York Marine is barred from maintaining its First Amended complaint and each cause of action therein because of its unclean hands with respect to the policy, the events upon which its causes of action are based, and its conduct. Waiver. By its conduct, representations, and omissions, New York Marine has waived, relinquished, and or abandoned any claim for relief against Ms. Heard respecting the matters that are subject to the First Amended complaint. Estoppel. By its conduct, representations, and omissions, New York Marine is equitably estopped to assert any claim for relief against Ms. Heard respecting the matters that are the first subject of the First Amended complaint. Breach of contract. New York Marine's claims are barred in whole or part because New York Marine has breached its obligations under the policy. New York Marine is barred bad faith from any recovery against Ms. Heard by reason of its tortuous breaches of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing and its bad faith unreasonable conduct. Stay. To the extent that the issues or facts involved in this action overlap with or could implicate issues involved in the DEP lawsuit, this action should be stayed pursuant to Monroe's chemical course. So since she's reserving this right to affirm this defense, I assume we may be seeing that motion. Therefore, Ms. Heard prays for a judgment, and this is in her counterclaim. This is against New York Marine's First Amendment complaint, declaring that New York Marine is not entitled to its relief it seeks in its First Amendment complaint or to any relief, dismissing the First Amendment complaint and all causes of action therein, so she wants it dismissed, awarding Ms. Heard the attorney's fees that she reasonably incurred and continues to incur in her efforts to obtain the benefits due under the policy that New York Marine wrongfully withheld, awarding Ms. Heard the costs of suit incurred, and granting each other relief as the court may deem equitable. Signed by her lawyer, jury trial demanded, and we're going to get into her counterclaim. So let me catch up with you guys real quick. It's a web of deceit. I truly believe Amber was recruited to lure up. No, I don't think she was recruited. I don't know. I've seen those conspiracies, but I think Amber Heard was quite capable of doing things on her own. It's like walking into a mirror house drives you madness. Yeah. Amber Heard's lawsuit. But remember, this isn't her lawsuit. She's the defendant. So she's been sued. Yeah, I don't think they extended it. It wouldn't make sense. And they've hired other people that look like her. Hey, Rose, thank you so very, very much. Laura, you've done such wonderful work and been a rock of supportive content for an abused man. Thank you so very much. Hope she gets psych help. Yeah. Stateless aims spurious and cost New York Marine time and money. Yeah, she doesn't, not worried about costing them money. The one thing that Elaine's very good at, she's not part of this, but in the DEP trial, man, they filed tons of motions and ran Johnny's bill up. So the insurance is contending they paid upwards to maybe $10 million plus, not counting the appeal. I think Johnny's was, by the caliber of his lawyers, closer to $20 million. And that's just my personal opinion. Okay, let's see what else I got. The insurance company is still paying. Travelers apparently is still paying. New York Marine is being sued because they refuse to pay. They're being sued by Travelers, and now they're going to be sued by Amber Heard. I haven't heard anything about the UN. Yeah. Thanks for, you're so welcome. I've seen Sunshine and McSquirrel here. I'm not sure what other mods, because I haven't been able to look real quick. So give a shout out so they know who the mods are. I did put on subscription mode. As soon as she said I shouldn't have to donate to be believed, and even if you think I lied, it was her. That was it. It was for final. She shouldn't have donated. She should have just taken the damn money, left, worked, used the nepotism of the ex-Mrs. Johnny Depp, used the name to get work, and just moved on with her life. Cracks me up. She keeps asking for extensions. It's not like she's busy. She has all those assignment of errors that she has to write up. Well, she's not in abstention anymore. I mean, she's not going to physically be in the court for any of this. Now it's all on her lawyers, but it's now been accepted that this is the jurisdiction. Pattern of covering up lies makes the Waldman statement seem even more credible. The more she's in public eye, the unfathomable lies are revealing. Oh, I hope I can explain things to you. You know what? I love doing this because I open up my mind to more questions and I look for the answers, but then I love to listen to these law tubers to see what else they have to say that I can apply it to this. It just happens to be this came out today. Yeah, I thought she was stateless. Now she's going to countersue. Yeah, I think that's a decision she had to make. If we're not going to win the stateless situation for dismissal and you're stuck in this lawsuit, let's find a way to countersue it so we can maybe get some money out of it. And that's certainly what happened with Johnny. She got $2 million. So, and New York Marine countersued Travelers. So I think it's just seems to be normal tit for tat nowadays. Rose-colored glasses and all she sees. AH plays Nellie and thinks she gets away with it. Oh, wait, she did when she went away out of the country. I wonder where she is. I don't know. But I can tell you, she's plotting. This is not a person that just lets it go. I mean, she may have had her few days of tears, but she's plotting something to come back. The filth and corruption that's been exposed with MSM and film studios has been a good thing. That's from these two narcissists. Made me search and find truth I might never have. Yeah, the mainstream media is so disappointing. I mean, Johnny's been doing so great, and I can't understand why they can't give him some due. He did win. He was vindicated. And they had to tear him down for the music awards and for Rihanna. It makes no sense to me. Oh, my goodness, Raul. Thank you so much, sweetheart. He's my good buddy from Twitter. We go way back. You're a sweetie. It's a final appealing. Appealing does not mean it's unfinished. If she loses the appeal or win, she'll take it to a higher court. Sure, I think she will keep dragging this as far as the courts will allow her. But in the meantime, there is no suspension bond. And unless some arrangements have been made with Johnny Depp, some kind of gentleman's agreement not to collect from each other, I think she'll just keep going after it. Teresa Stewart, I see your comment at the top. I'm trying to find it in the feed because I can't show it without finding it. So one thing I don't look about. Here you are. Teresa, thank you so very much. Thank you for everything you've done. You are a warrior for the truth. Teresa, thank you so much. It is so appreciated and such a huge, huge help. I've been putting out a lot of videos with the documents that I had to pay for from California, and we've seen a couple of them that are so interesting, like the one with Doug Stanhope and a few others. I didn't pay for that one. Someone gave that to me, but I'm gone blank for a second. Who did I miss? Did I miss any other big questions? Because I want to get back to this because I want to make sure I can get to questions before the baby wakes up. So let me go to her. I think there's one more. Did I miss one? I got that one. Here it is. Sorry. I want to make sure I got this one. Gina, thank you so much. Here's a bit for your time, Laura. I'm so happy you were rewarded by meeting the lovely man himself. Thanks for keeping us updated. Johnny is everything we ever thought he would be. he was just so sweet and humble and self-deprecating, and he laughed and he made jokes and he told stories, and he was just amazing. Amazing. All right, let me get back to this real quick, guys. So this is her countersuit now. New York Marine sold Miss Heard an insurance policy in which it promised to defend and indemnify Miss Heard against, and among other things, lawsuits alleging that she defamed others. When Miss Heard was sued by Johnny Depp for defamation, she timely notified the New York Marine and asked New York Marine to defend her. While New York Marine promised to do so, it did not provide the full and capable defense to which Miss Heard was entitled. It failed to pay the attorney's fees and costs that it was obligated to pay for Miss Heard's defense, and acted in other ways that prejudiced Miss Heard. Did I just get an important message? No. I always get worried when I see I'm getting reported on Twitter. All good. So it is obligated to pay for Miss Heard's defense, and it acted in other ways that prejudiced Miss Heard and her defense. Interesting. Prejudiced her and her defense. And of course, they're claiming that Cameron McAvoy's to blame for something. And then when he left, they didn't pay Travelers the 50-50 split for Kaplan and Braderhoft. In acting in this manner, and as described in greater detail below, New York Marine breached its contractual duties tortuously, violated the insurance policy's implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and repudiated the duties that it still owes to Ms. Heard while she pursues her appeal in the lawsuit brought by Mr. Depp. New York Marine's conduct and its coverage positions are contrary to the terms of its insurance policy, the law, the facts, and insurance industry custom and practices. I think she means custom and practice. Okay. Ms. Heard is entitled to recover damages to compensate her for the injuries that New York Marine has inflicted, and punitive damage because of New York Marine's torturous bad faith. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has jurisdiction over this counterclaim pursuant to 28. Oh, speaking out of both sides of her cheeks now. Now they have jurisdiction. She's okay with it because she's countersuing. Because each claim is so related to the claims within the court's original jurisdiction and that they form part of the same case of controversy. Venue is proper in this district pursuant to 28 U.S.C. because a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to the claim occurred in this district, including delivery of the policy at issue. Parties. Ms. Heard is an actor. She has appeared in such films as Aquaman and Justice League. Who cares? Other than it makes her a public figure. So then we have to get into the, actual malice stage. Ms. Heard is informed, but this isn't defamation. Ms. Heard is informed and believes that on the basis alleges that New York Marine is a corporation organized and incorporated under the laws of the state of New York with its principal business of New York. It's funny because she denied that above because she said she didn't have the knowledge. But anyway. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that New York Marine is a sophisticated national insurance company that holds itself out as offering excellent customer service and an experienced claims handling team. Ms. Heard also is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that New York Marine is part of the Coaction Specialty Insurance Group, Coaction, and that Coaction advertises and makes public statements, including on its website, on behalf of the New York Marine and its other member companies, including New York Marine. And then they give the website in the footnote. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, on that basis, alleges that Coaction uses its website to market its insurance products, represent the nature of its insurance products, its policy underwriting, and its claims handling, and represents the quality of the insurance and service customers of its group members will receive if they do business with Coaction Company. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that New York Marine authorized the statements and representations that Coaction has made on its website, and that those statements and representations are made on behalf of New York Marine. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that when Coaction say things through its websites, advertising, and statements, it is speaking on behalf of and is authorized to speak on behalf of New York Marine. Coaction represents to the public and to its customers its Coaction values, which it says are its intrinsic beliefs and are important in and of themselves. Among other things, Coaction states as follows on its website. Today, Coaction is a full specialty underwriter across 5 major product verticals: property, casualty, entertainment, executive liability, and multi-line. Coaction's authentic, collaborative, and results-oriented culture is reflected in its focused approach the company takes to fulfilling the needs of each individual customer by combining product, analytics, and underwriting capabilities with a strong industry knowledge and partnerships to develop real-world solutions. Customer focus. We serve the customer, whether they be the broker, policyholder, or another internal or external customer. It is fundamental to everything we do and it's core focus of our decision-making. Integrity and respect. We consistently display honesty and consideration for the feelings, wishes, right, and traditions of others across our undertakings, even and especially when no one is watching. Accountability. We accept responsibility for our own actions and are willing to be judged based on performance. It requires a willingness to be transparent. Number 10, coalition also represents to the public and to its customers that it has special expertise in providing insurance to the companies and individuals in the entertainment industry. Among other things, Coaction states as follows on the website. We are experts. Coaction is more than an insurance company. We're a specialty company. Coaction has been writing entertainment business for over a decade with a team of experts located in Southern California, New York, and New Jersey who have dedicated their entire career with 300 years of collective experience to their customers. I'm really not sure the point of all this. Target customers, artists, and entertainers. Number 11, Coaction also states in its entertainment fact sheet final, at Coaction, we strive to provide an exceptional claims handling experience to our clients. Our average claim adjuster has over 15 years of experience and are strategically aligned with our underwriting vertical to provide our insured claimants as specialized claims encounter, including expert claims team known for its quality, commitment, and integrity. Policies are underwritten by the insurers of Coaction Specialty Insurance Group, which includes New York Marine and General Insurance Company. Coaction has $1.1 billion estimated 2022 premium and $3.2 billion total assets. She's basically saying, look, you can afford to pay for me. New York Marine sold insurance policy number, big number, to Ms. Heard for the July 18, 2018 to July 18, 2019 policy period. There's never been a mention of renewal or anything, so I'm assuming they did not renew with her, or she didn't renew with them. The named insured is Under the Black Sky, incorporated as per named insured extension schedule, which schedule includes Ms. Heard as the named insured. The policy contains multiple coverage parts, each of which provides several separate coverages to Ms. Heard. The commercial liability general liability coverage form provides $1 million in coverage any one person for the personal and advertising injury. The comprehensive personal liability coverage separate provides $1 million in coverage each occurrence for personal liability. The policy's commercial general liability coverage forms coverage B, personal and advertising liability, obligated New York Marine to pay those sums that Ms. Heard becomes legally to pay as damages because of its personal and advertising injury. Commercial general liability coverage form, coverage B, it is also obligated New York Marine to defend Ms. Heard against any suit seeking damages for personal and advertising injury. The policy defines personal and advertising injury to mean injury including consequential bodily harm arising out of one or more of the following offenses: oral or written publication in any manner of material that slanders or libels a person. Commercial general liability coverage form. The policy's comprehensive personal liability coverage obligated New York Marine to pay up to its limit of liability for the damages for which Ms. Heard is legally liable if a claim or suit brought against Ms. Heard because of personal injury caused by an occurrence. Comprehensive personal liability coverage, L. The comprehensive personal liability coverage also obligated New York Marine to provide a defense at its expense by counsel of its choice, even if the suit is groundless, false, or fraudulent. Personal injury is defined to include injury arising out of one or more of the following offenses: oral or written publication of material that slanders or libels a person or organization, including other forms of defamation, or oral and written publication of material, including other forms of defamation, that violates a person's right of privacy. Now, a sip here. To the extent not waived or otherwise excused, Ms. Heard has complied with all terms and conditions contained in the policy. Therefore, Ms. Heard is entitled to all benefits of the policy. Now she's going to get into the DEP lawsuit. this isn't very long, and then we'll have time for questions. In March 2019, Miss Heard's ex-husband, Johnny Depp, filed a lawsuit against Miss Heard in Virginia State Court, the Depp lawsuit. Mr. Depp alleged in the lawsuit that Miss Heard defamed him in December 2018 Washington Post op-ed. In June 2022, the jury in the Depp lawsuit returned a verdict against Miss Heard for 3 counts of defamation. Miss Heard has appealed the judgment to the Virginia Court of Appeals. The appeal is currently pending. Her brief is due tomorrow. New York Marine's breaches and bad faith conduct. Ms. Heard timely notified New York Marine of the Depp lawsuit. New York Marine initially agreed to defend Ms. Heard subject to reservation of rights. Unfortunately for Ms. Heard, New York Marine's performance never lived up to its promises. Indeed, New York Marine never fully paid for Ms. Heard's defense, leaving Ms. Heard to incur hundreds of thousands of dollars in defense costs not paid by any insurer. That's interesting because Travelers is saying they paid for it all and they want New York Marine to reimburse them. Withdrew from Ms. Heard's defense, expressly repudiated its duties to defend or indemnify Ms. Heard, and has consistently placed its interests above those of Ms. Heard. Specifically, in October 2019, New York Marine reserved rights to deny coverage on the ground that Ms. Heard behaved intentionally, thus creating a conflict of interest with Ms. Heard and giving Ms. Heard the right to independent counsel, with New York Marine being obligated to pay for the fees and costs of this independent counsel. Nonetheless, New York Marine refused to agree to defend Ms. Heard through independent counsel and instead appointed its own counsel. Despite requests from Ms. Heard to reconsider, New York Marine persisted in its position, making it impossible for Ms. Heard to fully accept the defense provided by New York Marine without prejudicing her defense in the Depp lawsuit. New York Marine's appointed counsel ultimately withdrew on November 20th. This is an interesting paragraph because we have a concurrent lawsuit going on, and Travelers claim this. Travelers claim that they offered Ms. Heard to pick her own defense, independent counsel. New York Marine argued and said, no, we don't do that. We appoint counsel. So ultimately, the judge ruled that in Virginia, because that's where the case happened, in Virginia, that they could support New York Marine appointing their own counsel because there's no conflicts of interest allowed in Virginia. So that part got dismissed. That claim from Travelers got dismissed, that New York Marine absolutely had its right to appoint its own counsel, and it's very common in most insurances. So this is going to be interesting since the same judge has already dismissed that part of Travelers' claim. But New York Marine says after Cameron McAvoy left, because they were not being allowed to properly defend under Ms. Heard's direction or her agent's direction, that they then said, you know what, if you don't want our attorney, then we won't give you any attorney. So this is what now is the problem. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that New York Marine thereafter agreed to participate in the defense of Ms. Heard by reimbursing Ms. Heard's defending insurer, Travelers Commercial Insurance Company, for some of the amounts it had paid and was paying towards Ms. Heard's defense in the Depp lawsuit, but has never done so. Thus, at no point has New York Marine fully honored its duty to defend Ms. Heard in the lawsuit. This is partly true and partly not true. After Cameron McAvoy left, Travelers convinced New York that said, look, you need to join with us. You have to provide a defense and you have to pay 50% of our costs. And they said, at the time they agreed, and they said, okay, give us the bills, show us everything. Travelers was not sharing everything with them. They did pay them several hundred thousands of dollars. I don't have that number off the top of my head. And then they found out why Cameron McAvoy, they figured out all the backstory about why Cameron McAvoy left. And they said, oh, no, wait a minute. You iced our guy out. So if you don't want our defense that we were paying for, we're not paying for your defense. Plus the fact that we had an agreed ceiling and you've gone way over that. So that's part I remember. See, there's 2 suits going on. It's going to be interesting, the information I gathered from the other one. Once judgment was entered in the Depp's lawsuit, in accord with the jury's verdict, New York Marine took the position that it need not defend or indemnify Ms. Heard, even though that judgment is not final, has been appealed, and may be reversed on appeal. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that New York Marine took this position to benefit its own economic interests at the expense of Ms. Heard's interests, and even though it knew or should have known that the basis for its position are contrary to the law and do not excuse New York Marine from its duty to defend Ms. Heard, including its duty to pursue and fund an appeal on her behalf in the Depp lawsuit. By refusing to provide the defense to which Ms. Heard was and is entitled in the DEP lawsuit, and by wrongfully asserting that Ms. Heard is not entitled to indemnity. Indemnity is the payout for the judgment at the $1 million for any amount that Ms. Heard might be legally obligated to pay in any judgment in or settlement of the DEP lawsuit. New York Marine has wrongfully repudiated and refused to perform its duties to Ms. Heard. In so acting, New York Marine has deprived Ms. Heard from receiving the full benefits that she was promised and to which she is entitled under the policy. I'm finding this interesting since now this could be just standard legal language, and I can't wait to hear some of the law tubers, but they've thrown this out a couple times. Ms. Heard might be legally obligated to pay any judgment. We know there's a judgment in or settlement of. So I'm wondering if something can come out of the appeal where these two just decide to settle on something and drop it. I don't know, but I found that that's been coming in here a couple times, and maybe that's just standard legal ease. First count, breach of contract. Ms. Heard realleges and incorporates by references all the above paragraphs. New York Marine had and has a duty under the policy, the law, and insurance industry custom and practice to fully defend Ms. Heard against the DEP lawsuit. New York Marine's duty arose at least at the time it received notice of the DEP lawsuit and continues until the DEP lawsuit is finally resolved, including through all appeals therein. Remember, she loses his appeal. She's probably going to go up to the state court, Supreme Court. New York Marine also had and has a duty under the policy, the law, and insurance industry custom and practice to promptly conduct a full and thorough investigation, including as to all bases that might support Ms. Heard's claim for coverage. New York Marine also had and has a duty to give at least as much consideration to Ms. Heard's interests as it gives its own interests. New York Marine breached its duties by, among other things, A, refusing to fully and properly defend Ms. Heard in the lawsuit, repudiating its duty to indemnify Ms. Heard for any amounts that Ms. Heard may be legally obligated to pay in judgment in or the settlement of the DEP lawsuit, otherwise refusing to perform its duties under the policy and acting as alleged above. As a direct and proximate result of New York Marine's contractual breaches, Ms. Heard has sustained and continues to sustain damages in the amount of to be proven at trial and currently exceeding $75,000. $75,000 is the threshold to have this case heard. Same claim that New York Marine made. Tortuous breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. Ms. Heard realleges and incorporates by reference paragraphs 1, all the above. Implied in the policy is a covenant that New York Marine would act in good faith and deal fairly with Ms. Heard, would do nothing to interfere with Ms. Heard's right to receive benefits due under the policy, and would give at least the same level of consideration to Ms. Heard's interests as it gives its own interests. New York Marine also had a duty under the policy, the law, and insurance industry custom, practice, and standards to conduct a prompt and thorough investigation, including as to all bases that might support Ms. Heard's claim for coverage before asserting coverage defenses or denying coverage. Instead of complying with these duties, New York Marine acted in bad faith by, and among other things, refusing to fully properly defend Ms. Heard in the DEP lawsuit and then repudiating its duty to defend, refusing to indemnify Ms. Heard to its policy limit as to any judgment in or settlement of the DEP lawsuit, failing to fully inquire into possible bases that might support coverage for DEP lawsuit, asserting grounds for limiting coverage that it knows are not supported by and in fact are contrary to the terms of the policy, the law, insurance industry custom and practices, and the facts. I think what they're asserting to is the intentional tort. So we'll see how that plays out. Taking coverage positions that are contrary to Ms. Heard's reasonable expectations of coverage. Well, I think reasonably they expect that you can't lie and still be covered for it, just like you can't intentionally crash a car and expect them to fully pay out on your insurance for the car. Giving greater consideration to its own interests than it gave Ms. Heard's interests. Based on information and belief, failing to have appropriate claims, handling guidelines, and failing to consider and act in accord with the governing legal requirements, and otherwise acting as alleged above. We're almost done, guys. In breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, New York Marine did the things and committed the acts alleged above for the purpose of consciously withholding from Ms. Heard the rights and benefits to which she is and was entitled under the policy and the law. New York Marine's acts are inconsistent with the reasonable expectations of Ms. Heard, are contrary to established insurance industry custom and practice. I don't think they are contrary to legal requirements, are contrary to the express terms of the policy, and constitute bad faith. As a direct and proximate result of New York Marine's breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, Ms. Heard has sustained and continues to sustain damages in the amount to be proven at trial. Ms. Heard is entitled to recover all attorney fees that she has reasonably incurred and continues to incur in her efforts to obtain the benefits due under the policy that New York Marine wrongfully has withheld and is withholding in bad faith. Ms. Heard is also entitled to interest at the maximum legal rate. Ms. Heard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that New York Marine, acting through one or more of its officers, directors, or other corporate employees with substantial independent and discretionary authority over significant aspects of New York Marine's business, performed, authorized, and or ratified the bad faith conduct alleged above. New York Marine's conduct is despicable and has been done with a conscious disregard of Ms. Heard's rights, constituting oppression, fraud, and or malice. New York Marine has engaged in a series of acts designed to deny Ms. Heard the benefits due under the policy. Specifically, New York Marine, by acting as alleged above, in light of information, facts, and relevant law to the contrary, consciously disregarded Ms. Heard's rights and forced Ms. Heard to incur substantial financial losses, thereby inflicting substantial financial damage on Ms. Heard. New York Marine ignored Ms. Heard's interests and concerns with the requisite intent to injure within the meaning of this California Civil Code Section 3294. Therefore, Ms. Heard is entitled to recover punitive damages from New York Marine in an amount sufficient to punish and to make an example of New York Marine and deter similar conduct in the future. You mean like the $5 million the jury awarded Depp in punitive damages so that nobody else would lie about him or support her lies or support her alleged claims? Doesn't seem to be working. Just couldn't help myself there. Prayer for relief. Damages according to proof at the time of the trial plus interest on the first count and the second count for damages according to proof at the time of trial, including reasonable attorney fees. And for punitive damages, on both counts, the cost of the suit for such other and further and different relief. So there we go. There we have it. She wants the jury trial too. That's it in a nutshell, but let me get to your questions. Pretty much where I left off. Whoa. To those doing super chats, thank you. I've been up several YouTubers having band trouble right now. They donate all they make to doing therapy and PTSD webs.org and other charities, but can only do so many now. I have not been banned. I have been shadow banned. I have been suppressed. People's notifications are being turned off. I don't know what YouTube is doing. It makes no sense, especially when they take a huge cut of it all. I can't wait for Depp to win his appeal. God, I pray he does, and I pray she gets no break in hers at all. She get in trouble. She's claiming she was stateless. Well, apparently she's dropped that completely now. That was just in fact, she didn't file a motion or anything to piss the judge off. She just kind of threw it out there, and they discussed it, and they dropped it. Sorry, if you need to send me a message, maybe on Instagram. I had to turn it off on Twitter because I was just getting inundated. So I limited it, but I'm on Instagram. I think if you search The Real Laura B, I should still come up. Doesn't this backfire on her last filing as non-resident? Yeah, she didn't actually never filed that. That was just a status report update that it almost to the point like, I think you've got the wrong jurisdiction. We need to investigate this. And she quickly realized that she couldn't hold on to that. Thank you I'm so glad you made it. From Wet and Windy, New Zealand. You do a great job talking us through it. Thanks so much. I'm hoping I can help you. I will be posting the links down below for this. How is she financing and paying for this? I have no idea. I have no idea because this is going to get expensive. She needs to be arrested as soon as possible. Yeah, she hasn't done anything criminal. Or if she has, the time is barred from it now. I wish I knew what happened when Adam filed for the perjury. I guess nothing came of that. A million thanks for my good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love doing it. Let's see. Question. Here we go. Isn't the language of New York Marine's policy that they don't pay if it was found that she wrote the op-ed with actual malice? The jury found she did. Yeah, apparently it's a California code that is read into all insurances. And yeah, so it says any willful torts are not covered. And it's written right. I'm going to pull that up real quick while I'm answering this because I remember she said it. It's the California code. I think it's insurance code 355. 553. Could you make it small enough? Goodness. An insurer is not liable for loss caused by the willful act of the insured, but he is not exonerated from the negligence of the insured, or if the insured's agents or others, the negligence. So, yes, I don't know what she could be considered negligent here. She knowingly wrote this, unless the appeals court comes back and says it was opinion based on what happened after she claimed. In other words, after she lied, this is how she was treated. That's factual. So I hope I answered that one. I think she's afraid of piling bills in it. Yeah, she tried to play the non-resident card. She's given that up. That's all in the past now, because not only is she accepted jurisdiction, she's also countersuing in that jurisdiction. So that's a done deal. She's not abusing the court as of right now. I have about 10 more minutes because the baby just woke up. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Australia. We've had no updates from there at all. Oh, thank you so much, Moseth. I so appreciate it. Thanks for all your work you do. You are more than welcome. I'm glad I could be able to help. She's fighting something that doesn't exist. Not all this could have been avoided. She just could have left him and just lived out her life. This is a very tangled web. Yeah. Yeah. She's denying that the verdict is correct. Of course, that's why she's appealing. But she's not appealing about the lies. She's appealing by it should have been dismissed. Right? Of course, she can't. They're the finders of fact, so she can't really. She asked the Judge Ascarati to set it aside. She asked Judge Ascarati to set the money aside too. Well, she's asking the appeals court that too. She incurred a liability with actual malice. New York Marine clearly states it will not pay. I know. And what I don't understand is travelers should be governed by that same rule, and I don't know why they're not claiming this too. I don't see. I'm looking for questions. Avoiding insurance fraud. Yeah. I mean, the verdict says she lied, but it's not a criminal case. It's not beyond reasonable doubt. So I'm not sure that they can go after her for fraud. I think she planned to write it. It was October 2018. It was December 2018 that she released it, October 28th. And I think this is the catalyst. Johnny had given an interview to GQ UK. She sued him for defamation via arbitration over that article. That was October 2018. It was dismissed without adjudication, without a ruling. It was dismissed. And then in December, she wrote her op-ed. And she knew that she was going to have to be a witness in the UK trial. And she was also trying to block that, asking Johnny to remove the confidentiality clause in its entirety. The way she did intentionally because she didn't like her legal team. I don't know. I'm dying to see what the argument's going to be about Cameron McAvoy. She also was claiming that this would prejudice her appeal, but the lawyers that they're deposing are not part of the appeal. Elaine is out. Kaplan's out. She's not part of it. Her private attorney, Cameron McAvoy, none of them are part of the appeal. Only Ben Rottenborn, and he wasn't listed to be deposed, at least not in the documents we saw. Just over 600,000. Oh, what did I miss? I don't think Johnny should have to pay. I don't know what this was. I missed this part of the conversation, guys. I can't help you. Does Cameron McAvoy's withdrawal have anything to do with the results in the UK court, which was a no? What we saw on the website in Fairfax, there was a lot of motions in the beginning, and Cameron McAvoy was involved, and all of a sudden, Kaplan came on and Ben Rottenborn and Cameron McAvoy's names were dropped off. All of the legal documents just dropped off completely. So we can see that they were not included. They didn't even know that the case was postponed until they saw it on the website. They were not informed. So this is their claim. Remember, there's allegations both sides. Yeah, she has had a lot of lawyers. She was misheard, Arlo. Ha ha ha. How is she countersuing? She no longer lives in the country. Well, she's abandoned that argument, apparently. She's agreeing that at the time this all happened, it was in the correct jurisdiction. So she's abandoned that. Yeah, $20,000 a month, wasn't it? $20,000 per month for this house. We don't know that Travelers, we think Travelers paid for it. We don't know. We also think Travelers may have stayed there with her, but we don't know. She will not stop, no matter what. She will not stop. Trying to see if there's any more questions. These suits should request age pay all legal fees. They always ask that, and they're almost never in civil cases. They're almost never, unless it can be proven completely frivolous. They're never asked to pay legal fees in the end. If Amber is ignored, see, Johnny didn't get legal fees from her in the Virginia case because he didn't win his anti-SLAPP argument. If Amber is ignored, I think she will stop with Johnny and will try to get someone else to make her relevant. Will it be Musk if Amber believes he no longer can help her? I don't know, Steve. I don't know. But she has a need for attention, according to Dr. Curry. I have an idea for a new set of laws for the Supreme Court, how to stop someone who's delusional like her from continuing abusing the court system. Yeah, they have to, at some point, they have to, make a ruling. If she doesn't have to be reheard, it can be denied. She can be asked to have it reheard by, instead of 3 judges, all the judges, which can be denied. And then she can ask for it to go to the Supreme Court, which doesn't mean they'll accept it. I don't know how much Travelers will cover. I just don't know how much. The baby is crying a little bit. So, thank you so much, Sam Panther. I so appreciate it. Huge help. I believe New York will ask Amber to prove her losses, if any, of course. Yeah. Yeah, because they're all in the, maybe Amber's lawyer hasn't read all the documents, but New York Marine knows full well that Travelers, that they've paid some money to Travelers already. And that Travelers is claiming that they paid for everything so far. Marie-Louise Nilsson, I am looking for your super chat. I can see you at the top, but I can't show you on the screen yet. But I'm looking for you. Can you send a P.O. box for a little Christmas packet? Thank you. I don't have one. I never anticipated. I thought after the trial it was going to be finished. I just wanted to memorialize some documents. I didn't realize there'd be insurance lawsuits and all these other things that keep me going. So I haven't set that kind of stuff up yet. I don't know anything about this. That's a rumor, I assume. I assume that's a rumor. There you are. Boy, I really got behind here. Thank you so much, Marie-Louise Nilsson. I so appreciate it. Yeah, huge help. I really appreciate it, guys. Yes, the replay will stay up. And I'm also anxious to see what the other law tubers know. How timely it was to buy a house, buy a $500,000 house to have $10 million in legal coverage from her house insurance and then sell the house. I don't think any of this planned out. She bought the house. She had $7 million from settlement, which she didn't donate. She bought the house, I think, intending for her parents to live in there. It was close to Joshua Tree, Coachella, where Io lived. I think this was meant to be their family friends party house. And of course, she's not friends with anybody anymore. Everybody left her. So she sold the house out of necessity because she has legal fees. She has to pay a judgment, and I think she just needs to get away. So she sold it, and yeah, she profited on the house, probably about $500,000. Not sure how much she paid an agent, if she did. So yeah, I think we're reading too much into intentionality here and planning. She bought a house, she got homeowners insurance. She had a business, she got business insurance. Johnny made comments in the GQ UK, and I think that's what triggered it. She wanted to sue him for defamation. She wasn't able to, and she said, you know what? I'll get back. I have an opportunity to write this op-ed. I'll show you. Laredo, thanks, Jesus. $20. Thank you so much. I'm still giggling when I see Amber's expression after Ben Chu says nobody wanted her op-ed. Maybe just a teen magazine unless Johnny was named in it. She will only ever be relevant because of Johnny. Unless she gets with Elon or somebody else as other high-profile person. Thank you guys for staying. We got over 1,000. We got over 1,000 people here. Oh my God. Thanks, guys. You're amazing. Do you have a theory that Amber is afraid of Elon Musk? A theory, I think you mean now that he owns Twitter. Do you think that's the reason why she quit Twitter? I think first of all, when you quit Twitter, you have 30 days to come back. I don't know if she's going to come back. She wasn't posting on it. She doesn't have anywhere near as many followers on Twitter as she does on Instagram, whether they're real or not. She doesn't have as many likes on Twitter as she does on Instagram, whether they're real or not. I think she took advantage of the situation with Elon coming on to close her account because she knew it would get her that kind of attention. Oh, look, Amber's left Twitter because of Elon. She knew that was the attention it would give her. That's my opinion. And she left. Now, maybe she'll come back. It was not a productive account for her, in my opinion. You know, Instagram seems to be where the celebrities are going anyway. So that's my theory on that. I just think it was more fodder for her name in the press. That's my opinion. Wow. Yes, 1,000 people. I can't believe it. All right. I think I've gotten to the end. I don't think there's been any other updates anywhere. Just checking real quick because you never know, something can get filed. And we'll be like, oh, that just happened. No updates on the, nope. Her brief did not come in a day early. Just checking that. So let's see if there's anything under New York Marine side. Since I have y'all here. No, they're doing all kinds of scheduling notices. So, what was the last thing I saw? I think there's a hearing that's been moved to December 1st. So there is, on November 29th, there is a joint status report due. And then December 1st, there will be a hearing telephonically in the morning. So that's the next 2 dates I have coming up for this. So there will be a status report due, a joint status report. And remember, for pretrial, they're consolidated. So that will be from all the parties in both lawsuits. So different issues, but a lot of commonality. And then there will be a hearing. So we have that updated. And nothing else with Amber. Just the interested parties. We got that one. Yeah, guys. So that's what I've got for you today. Let me see. Do we have any other questions? Like and share. Please like and share everything. I really appreciate it. I'm not seeing. Is this not working? It's not going down. I'm guessing I'm not getting more questions. I wonder how she took that none of her friends that helped her lie about Johnny Depp are no longer her friend. Yeah, they all left her. That's part of what she was complaining with, the PTSD that she couldn't maintain relationships. But the reality is, and Melanie made that very clear, it's like she just sucks the life out of you, basically. She just sucks the life out of you. Nothing going on there. Nothing going on there. Nope. Notice of interested parties, got that, and the meeting. So yeah, I've got everything updated that's available to me. So thank you for popping on. Like I said, I heard the baby crying. It's 4 o'clock. He's going to be getting up. And I'll stick with you as long as he's not crying. It's disturbing the fact that if she can keep her mouth shut, none of this would have known, and all the hell that Johnny went through. That's true. If she'd just taken the money and walked away, we would have never understood how damaged Johnny was. But I would have rathered that stay private and let him find his Dr. Curry or whoever and help him through it. She could have just taken the $7 million and lived her life. She had Elon. You know, at the time she anticipated that it would work out. She could have just gone on as the ex-Mrs. Johnny Depp and used that. Oh, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Yeah, I've done my bulk of my food shopping. I did some cleaning, babysitting today, food shop tomorrow, although the brief is dropping tomorrow, and final cleaning, and then I've got family coming. Great stream. Thank you, everybody. Do we have any last minute questions? Otherwise, I'm going to let you go. Please like, subscribe, share. Check your notification bells because for whatever reason, YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. The other thing they did is they cleared it to, it was something about it looked like the bell was on, but it was set to personal preference. You got to make sure you hit the notifications. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That's what they do to us. They did it across the board to a lot of us. And I'm not saying it's only Depp and Heard. It may have been happened because of some kind of software update, they're telling me. Yeah. The stories to hear that he was on the bus, the tour bus in the back crying all by himself because he couldn't believe that this just crashed down on him just because he loved this woman. Yeah. So I'm not seeing any more questions going on. Happy holiday for all of you here in America. Thanksgiving. You know, we try not to overeat. But that's what you do on Thanksgiving, right? It's all about the feast. And I'll be cooking tomorrow too. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to thank you, everybody. I don't see any more questions coming in. Again, I'll keep you up to date. The brief should be dropping tomorrow. Hopefully they will get that to me. I've got somebody that I contact, and so does Andrea, and so does DUI guy. He's found someone too. So thank you all. And yeah, have a great, great day. Probably talk to you tomorrow. And I'm leaving now. Bye-bye.